Well, hey there, friends. So, I'm sitting here as I often do, and a thought gets in my head, and it just keeps developing and developing to the point where I actually write it down and try to put it into a reasonable thought. And so I just wanted to go live and do this. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll open up my phone and I'll record it, and then I can go back and I'll edit it a few times because I don't like this or that portion of it. But I didn't want to do that, so I just figured I'll go live, and what it is what it's going to be. So the way that I titled it, "Love and Hate, Seeing or Blind," and this whole thing started with when you encounter someone that hates. When you encounter someone who hates, it's hard to forget. And a person that hates, it's hard to reason with them. And so I'd initially started saying something along the line of, hate is blind. And you've all heard the term love is blind. But I don't think that in and of itself alone is true. I think that love and hate both see, and love and hate are both blind. It's just, what are they seeing and what are they blind to? I don't think that a parent who sees a child doing something that is not in their best interest, is going to get themselves injured or something like that, I don't think that it's loving that a parent not guide or not discipline that child if they see that the child is going to do something that is going to hurt them. A parent, hear me now, a parent cannot be blind to something that could potentially hurt that person. So if we're beginning by asking the question, what does love see or what is love blind to? True love, and I will start off by saying, like, the love of a parent is not, if it's truly healthy love, is not going to be blind to something that could put their child at risk of injury. That's not love. To ignore that, to be aware of it and to ignore it, that's not love, because to ignore it means that ultimately the child may be injured. It is not going to be for their ultimate good to ignore something like that. But what is love blind to then? If it's not blind to that, what is love blind to? Well, even when I think now, if I move over to like relationship love, what is love? By the way, tomorrow, Deanna and I celebrate 26 years of marriage, if I live through the night. But what does it mean to be, what is love blind to then? Well, I think that it means that love is blind to the things that don't matter, ultimately. The things that may be annoying, how loud a person chews, how slow they drive, their love for deviled eggs, their love for George Michael. These are not things that if the person continues to do them, it's going to be their demise. It's just stuff that you probably find annoying. And what love does is it becomes blind to a degree of those things. Love is something that, true love is accompanied by grace and mercy. It overlooks the things that don't matter, and it continually looks for things to love and to admire. The thing is, if you've been in a relationship for a long time, you've been in a scenario where if you look at all the things you love about the person, maybe the first month or the first year you're together, forward that 26 years, and the list of things that you love about them only grows. It grows in number and it grows in depth. The more time you spend with them, you continue to find more and more things to love about them. So for that, we can see in love that there is stuff that you see and there's things that you're blind to. You're continually on the lookout for things that you love, and you are overlooking the things that are of minor consequence, ultimately, to that person. But hate is a total and complete rejection of that. Hate wants hurt for the object of its attention. Hate celebrates when there is hurt. It celebrates it. It feels happy. Hate specializes and focuses on the things that don't matter. Whereas love overlooks the loud chewing, overlooks deviled eggs, overlooks those things. Hate is fixated on them. Hate is all about them. Love is continually looking for more things that it admires and that draws them closer to the person. Hate is continually on the lookout for more things to hate. And similar to love, when something catches its attention, it inflates that thing. You see, when somebody you love starts something like, oh, I love that about them, and then you continue to watch it, your love for them grows, and it's amazing just to watch that happen. And when you hate someone, that minor thing that it begins with an annoyance, what happens with time is it grows and it grows and it grows. It's striking how similar these two things are. Love inflates the positive, while hate inflates the negative. Remember, the goal of love, its main thing is it wants the best for the object of its focus. It wants the best for that. It doesn't want anything negative to happen to it. Hate is the exact opposite. It wants nothing good. It wants nothing good for the object of its attention. It wants nothing. When something does negative happen to the thing that the person loves, it hurts them. For the person who hates, when something positive happens to that object, that hurts them. They hate to see something good happen. The thing is this: hating or loving someone, listen to me now, hating or loving someone is consuming. It's consuming. Think about when you've been in love and how you think about them. When they're not around, you see things that remind you of them. Hate is the same way. It consumes you. If you're around them, it's terrible. But even when they're not around, you can see things that remind you and you feel it. And all I can say is, I have felt love in my life and I've felt hate, and I much prefer love. I much prefer love. And so this led me to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And as I read this, This was after I had kind of written and thought this whole thing through. And this is what it says. Love is patient and kind. Well, if this statement, if the opposite of love is hate, and I believe that it is, then everything I say in here is the opposite. So if love is patient and kind, hate is impatient and unkind. And let's think about that for 1 second. The fact that it says love is patient, what does that mean? In my mind, what it means is love takes time. And those of you who've been in relationships for a long time, you understand that. Because a spouse can drive you crazy sometimes. Sometimes you and that spouse are going through things together or separately that are terrible. But love is patient. Love looks at that scenario differently than hate does. Hate says, I got no time for that. I'm ready to move on. Love does not envy or boast. Hate, therefore, envies. And when I think about that, if we're thinking again about what does love see, what is love blind to? What does hate see? What is hate blind to? Well, let me tell you what hate is not blind to. Hate is not blind to the things that are good in somebody else's life because they have envy. So when something positive happens, they hate that. They envy that deep down. But here's one that got to me. So it does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant. It's not rude. It does not insist on its own way. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. And here we go. This is verse 6. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. This is one that people really struggle with. But love does not rejoice in wrongdoing. How I interpret that today is when a parent sees their child doing something wrong that is ultimately not in that child's best interest, they don't love that. Love does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Meanwhile, hate rejoices at wrongdoing, and it rejects, it despises the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. So I wrote that today. I'm doing this today with this message, and this is the practical thing that you can do to walk away today. Is there hatred that you feel towards something? More important, is there hatred you're feeling towards someone? Because in the end, when we talk about hate really only hurting you, it does. If you're going to be consumed by something, be consumed by love. Don't be consumed by hate. And I'm really wrestling not to throw in like hate leads to the dark side, but Yoda kind of knew what he was talking about. So anyhow, I hope this maybe is of some help, that this makes sense, that you maybe just take some time to consider it. That's all I had. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and we will talk to you soon.